afraid if I sit on this couch, y'all gonna put me to sleep. I'm trying out. Y'all see me going to sleep, just throw something at me.
Whatever. What are you trying to say? We boring or something?
I'm trying to say I didn't get home till 3 o'clock in the morning and got up 7:30. Y'all seen Quasi out on the street? I ain't trying to put his business out.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
That's crazy. He's so smart, but so...
We live. Just so you know, why you sharing all your feelings right now?
I didn't mean to vote for Trump. I thought Trump was gonna I thought he was gonna do something good for the black community.
Hey family, going live in just a second. Just a brief second. Share the video to all your Facebook friends. We appreciate you for doing so. Hey Facebook. Testing.
Please keep the mic in front of your mouth and talk into the mic.
Can we? Are we taking calls?
No.
No. Okay.
My computer. I mean,
Since it's gonna be one of cozy, intimate settings.
I just do that.
Facebook Live. Where's our main shot?
Right across here.
This one?
This one right there. And that's your individual, and this is Hanifah's individual.
Okay.
Just trying to get the lighting right. Alright, y'all ready to rock and roll?
Oh, I had one to mention that we can keep comments brief on everything. We can probably get through the whole list.
Okay. So,
You know what I'm saying? Because last time I know we were talking on one topic for
On the hot topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
So I figured we can just
Yeah.
keep it brief on not through them all.
Hi, Gilbert.
Okay, y'all ready?
Yes.
Alright, we're going live with the mics. 3.
Welcome to another edition of the Empower Hour. I am Alqamar.
And I'm Hanifah.
And we're right here back at you yet again for another impactful topic of discussion. This time it's just Hanifah and I here in the studio. And we'll be talking to you about bad and good relationship advice. All those advices you guys get from your friends and family and loved ones.
Who mean well.
Who mean well, who love you, and just want to give you some pertinent advice pertaining to your relationship. So we're going to talk about that today. And is that always such a good thing?
Right.
How you feel?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's hot today, but
Yeah.
how about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good.
I like to hear.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a while since we did a relationship topic.
Oh, wow. Months.
May.
Yeah.
The end
it's
of
been
May.
months. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I know this is where you shine. So,
Oh.
so you know I'm going to be
That's
reverting.
my area of strength.
It's your area of strength, no doubt. So I know we reverting a lot of these questions for you to answer. So I'll be pleading the fifth.
That's okay.
And family, please share the information share the stream. You never know who's on the other side that can use some of this information, and we need your help. By the way, we need your help in all of this. So we have our computers up. So if you want to just type in, even on Instagram today, hey Instagram family, we're close enough to this point where we can see your lettering. So if you wanted to type a question or comment, get it out there. We'll do our very best to get it to them as well. So yeah, join the discussion. Bad relationship advice.
Bad, it's just that bad.
I know, right? It's like, ooh. And I guess that could be depending on, who you talk to, because some people may say, well, that's not a bad advice to me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do we always seek out relationship advice though? Because some people are really private with their relationship stuff. Because when you're seeking out advice, you think you needing help, right? If I need advice about something, I'm looking for some sort of assistance from a person, which means then you have to disclose oftentimes some information, and some people are really private.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everyone seeks out relationship advice.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea if you don't.
And some people,
I think it's wise when you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people may not seek it out, but they're giving it anyway. Mm-hmm. Especially from close friends and relatives.
Yeah.
What are you doing with him or her? Or, so it's like you hear it. Even oftentimes, even if you don't want to hear it.
Right.
Yeah. So you want to go through the list?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, let's start with all men cheat. I hear that a lot.
Ooh.
Do all men cheat, family? I hear women say that often.
Men.
Huh?
I've heard men say that too.
Huh?
Yeah. I've heard men say that too. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Do you think so?
Well, one thing, I kind of went back and forth. I used to not think so, and then for a while I was thinking so, and then when I started to broach the question to other brothers who shared with me that that's not true, that allowed me to understand that, okay, that's not true. But I will say that I can see why a lot of women would say that.
I was going to ask you that when you were in that state of, well, yes, the answer is yes. Why? Why was your answer yes during that time?
Good question.
What do you think?
I wasn't necessarily I wasn't like, okay, yeah, I know
strong
for
yes.
sure that this is what's happening because I'm not a man.
Yeah.
But it just seemed that in every situation, it was a lot of situations that I kept running into, and I was like, him too? Hey, him too? What? Oh, wow. So it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Is it really any people out here that that could really just stay monogamous?
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, that's like asking, do all black women have nasty attitudes? I think there's a certain stereotype that have kind of been pushed out there as far as black men is concerned. I actually think it's this isn't just black men, they're saying all men in general.
Right.
But that's like saying all women do ABC. We would jump up and say, well, I don't, and whenever you're having even a conversation online, you always have the not all people that comes in.
Yeah.
Well, not all.
Yeah.
You know?
And
so to make such a general statement as if there's some legitimacy to it, like there's some accuracy to it, and some people who say that, they say it like they know for sure.
Yeah.
And you ask, and they've dated 3 bad men.
Yeah.
And now those 3 bad men represent all the men in the entire world, really?
True.
So you gotta think about that. No, I don't think all men cheat.
Would you say most?
I think some men cheat.
Okay.
Just like some women cheat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The original Black Panther mentality brother on Instagram, when I asked the question on Instagram, he says it's impossible to make a connection to those scenarios because it's an oxymoron. He was saying as far as saying men or man in a scenario where they're cheating. He said those two don't correlate.
I don't understand.
He's saying that you can't be I'm assuming he was saying you really can't be a man
And not cheat?
and be as far as cheating being dishonest.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was his comment. I just want to get it out there.
I mean, that's what cheating is. It's deceit. It's deceit. I mean, it's you having relations with multiple people and they don't know of each other.
Yeah. So he's saying a real man wouldn't do that.
Oh, that's where the oxymoron piece comes in.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, I agree.
So,
I agree. I mean, that's to say that women are the only ones who have self-discipline. And that's a lie, because cheating requires not cheat or faithfulness. It requires some self-discipline.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many beautiful women in this world. You know, there are so many temptations in this world. There is going to require a certain level of self-discipline in a man, but for women too. Yeah. You know, if you're a sister and you're an attractive sister, it doesn't matter if you're married or not. Attraction is attraction. Men are going to be attracted to you. Some of them are going to try their hand whether you're married or not. Right. It takes a certain level of commitment to whoever you're with, respect, and self-discipline at the end of the day.
I agree.
Yeah. I know, and people can get caught up. You know, there are people who wouldn't put themselves in certain environments for that reason, where there's a lot of partying and alcohol, and you know, next thing you know, you wake up in the morning like, what happened? You know. So, and that's self-discipline. Yeah. So to say that all men cheat and not say that all women cheat is to imply that women are the only one who have self-discipline and men do not. And I don't know about that.
Good points. Good points. I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
I agree. So would you say that that's bad relationship advice?
Yes.
To tell one of your girlfriends, oh girl, get over it, all men cheat.
Yeah.
I think because in a roundabout way, you're kind of like giving them an out. You're giving them, you're
the man?
The man. You're excusing the behavior because they all do it. So it's like, well.
It's not a big deal.
Right.
Yeah. Like you shouldn't hold him accountable.
Yeah. Because they all do it. And it's almost as if saying, you know, expecting that it's going to be done.
And that's detrimental to your friend. And also that lack of accountability is also detrimental to that man as well. You know, because he's not being held accountable. Right. You know. Right. But I also think that the society, there's a certain level of separation from societal. I don't know if it's societal norms as far as men are concerned, that a man has to kind of have to do. Because it's the way that we're not just men, women too. There's a whole socialization involved too, where women are like, well, that's just how men are. In other words, that's how they're wired. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And some women truly believe that. Yeah. Truly. Where they'll get in relationships and they will subject themselves to that level of treatment because this is what men do. Yeah. So then my question then becomes, then what do women do? What is our thing then? Yeah, and I think we should be careful with that too, because you know that energy, the words carry energy. So if you're just saying that, usually, you know, those boomerang effects take place. And that advice comes from not just friends, that comes from grandparents, parents, older people, elders are saying this to younger people. Right. And that's bad as advice. All right. Yeah. All right, moving right along. And again, if you guys are just joining us, shoot out your questions, your comments on the streams, and we'll do our very best to get to them. Somebody says, hey, auntie. Okay, hey, niecey. I think that's my niece. Okay, it's cheaper to keep her. Usually the brothers. You hear that coming from the brothers. It's cheaper to keep her. I don't really get that, so maybe you could tackle that one. Uh-oh, you throwing that ball back in my lap. Yes. What do you guys think? What do they mean when they say that? And I wish we had a brother here. People who say that. Yeah. Yeah, who want to be divorced or who want to leave. Right. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. And there, like you said, there's assets involved normally, and they don't want to. They want to leave, but don't because they don't want to disrupt their lifestyle. Can't they remain business partners? Is the relationship that damaged? I don't know, because there are people who do where they're married and they get divorced, but they still maintain certain things together because they
partnership.
Yeah, there's a what is it? There's like a mutual. It's like the divorce was a mutual thing.
Yeah.
And so they realize the both of them have some stuff invested,
Right.
and no one wants to lose. I've seen this with more than one person where they just maintain a business partnership after the divorce.
Well, let me ask you this: is your peace of mind and happiness more important than your lifestyle or your material or your creature comforts? You see what I'm going?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It is more important. I agree. Peace of mind is more important than a lot of things, money, including money.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't mean that two people cannot be business partners and have a peace of mind. That's possible. However, if the divorce is nasty, you will see some men make a decision and say, well, it's probably better for me to not leave.
Yeah.
But then now you find yourself in a loveless relationship or marriage.
Yeah.
At what cost though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now I'm thinking too because your creature comforts affect your peace of mind.
Yeah.
So it's not as if, so I guess, I get why people hesitate or think twice to leave a bad situation when they're in this physical comfort zone, because it takes stress. If you're leaving and half of everything you built is leaving too, then I would imagine that you have to get reacclimated to another level of existence.
Yeah.
And that could be stressful.
You think that's bad relationship advice? That's a funny one. Huh?
Yeah, it is. That is. What do you guys think? Help us out here. Help us out. I don't know. I'm kind of borderline on that one.
Okay. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, because now that we're kind of like unpacking it.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it bad relationship advice? I don't know.
I guess it would depend on the situation.
Yeah, of course. I think if it's
The
a situation,
individual.
like I said, if they're civil with each other, and I don't know about remaining married, because I wish happiness for anyone.
Right.
And if it's if two people are miserable together, I don't know about the cheaper to keep thing.
Yeah.
I think you ought to get out and figure it out.
I agree with that.
But and again, I think in some situations they can still be civil and still be business partners and still, no one loses out, right?
Right.
That's possible as well. But I don't know if I would encourage someone who's in an abusive relationship, or they're miserable, or I wouldn't
to just be there.
Yeah,
just
I wouldn't.
You don't want to give up your Mercedes.
Or she might take the Mercedes.
Yeah.
That you worked hard for. I get it.
Yeah.
Because people have built these things together for years, and no one wants to start over most of the time.
Yeah.
But again, at what cost? You have to look at, what am I losing by keeping this?
Yeah. You know what you used to help me in the past? When I would do a sheet, I would draw a line through a piece of paper and
The pros and cons.
the pros and the cons.
You did that?
Yes, I just missed
Was it
several
helpful?
times. Yeah, it is
Okay.
helpful. It's helpful on a couple of different levels, just because you're able to actually visualize it. So basically, you write a piece of paper, for those who may not know, and the pros of the relationship versus the cons of the relationship, and you write down all the pros and one side, cons on the other, and whichever outweigh the other, you kind of get a feel of where you are.
I will assume that even doing that, because like a person can have a lot of good qualities, great characteristics, right? Things that we would want in a partner, and then that person can have or do something that just consumes everything else, and we tend to focus, right? We magnify that times 1,000, right? You know we do this. And women, we're good for this. We magnify that times 1,000, and we forget about all the good qualities. Just last week, we were talking about how great of a man he was, and this week we caught him in a lie.
And now my sheet is 2 miles long on the cons.
Right. So, but no, in reality, when you do, if you're honest and you do the pros and cons piece, that con section might be, okay, he lied about this and it really hurt me because I felt betrayed, not sure why he couldn't talk to me about that. Then when you look at the pros, he's still, those qualities that he's always had, the qualities that actually led you to even be with him in this first place, are still consistent in that person's life. You need to see it on paper, because if you don't, we can get caught up in our own mind and our own thoughts, you know, and then when we carry the news to our loved ones and our friends, we're focusing only on what that person did.
The pain.
Yeah, the pain, exactly.
The current pain we find ourselves in. Good point. All right, moving right along. Hang in there for the children.
Boo.
I'm gonna ride this out till my children graduate.
That's a hard one. I've been there. Okay. That varies. It's based on it. Some of us cannot do that.
Okay.
Even if we wanted to.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of it too that I realize is staying for the children. Sometimes you end up doing more damage to those same children that you think you're protecting by staying together, because the both of y'all hate each other at this point. But you're still together for the children. The children can feel that energy. They see you guys arguing. They see you guys throwing dishes at each other. Okay?
And they're learning too.
They're learning. Because
Because
we teach our children how to do relationship. For me, I would prefer that someone leaves a bad relationship, or if the two of them, y'all are ready to kill each other, leave and try to co-parent as best as possible, because you're still teaching your children how to do relationships when they don't work. How to do them in a civil way when they don't work, versus you just stay together and y'all at each other's throat all the time. I don't think that that's psychologically good for your children
or yourself.
Yeah, I've had friends who are adults now that have said, I don't know why my mother stayed with my father.
Wow.
Because they know, they'll say she should have been left him.
Oh wow.
These are adults.
Yeah. And I heard Ayana say once, and it stuck with me. She said, we grow addicted to pain. We'll get into a groove of just being in an unhealthy groove.
It becomes a norm.
Yeah. So every day you arguing, screaming, and fighting, but that's you're used to that by now, and then it becomes a habit.
Yeah, I don't advise the piece with the kids. And again, there are people who stay for their kids, and it doesn't have to be physical abuse. There are so many different types of abuse. And to tell someone to subject themselves to that, and this is for both men and women, because women are out here abusing men too.
Yeah, real
in
talk.
their own, no, for real, in
real
their own
talk.
way. Even physically.
That can be a whole show.
Exactly, even physically.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't advise that.
Right.
But I wouldn't advise that. No, because it's unhealthy for everyone involved.
Okay.
Including the kids.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I agree. Again, it's a situation where I guess it depends on the case scenario, because I think in some instances the relationship can be saved.
Yes.
With a little more time and patience between the two parties. And then there's other instances where it should have been over.
They're way past it.
It been over before
3
it
years
started.
ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago, y'all should have been put an end to this, killed it.
How do you know that though? How do you know? How does a person know who may be going through it and back and forth, teeter-tottering on leaving or staying? How do they know if they should stay or not?
Oh, how do they know if they should stay or not?
Yeah.
Well,
and children are involved.
Yeah. Well, I think some people will know from their kids. They'll know if it's affecting their children, because the children will see you guys have no respect for each other, right? And also for your health, for your well-being. That's stressful. You know, I think something in us. If you hear people say all the time, "I should have been left," I think something in us lets us know, like, this is not good. And for me, even if you have to say, okay, I'm not divorcing you, but I need to separate from you for a time frame and see what that looks like. I would encourage that too. Yeah.
Sometimes that could be helpful for you to get clarity.
Yes.
You know, just remove yourself from that individual for a period. And just to see how you feel after a while.
And there are some people who do that and they come back together. Because my thing with this is, if you're gonna say you're gonna separate, I don't think you should just go separate and be vacationing if you want to work on your marriage. I think during separation there should be some counseling involved, you know, seeking wise counsel, even family counseling involved during that separation.
I agree.
To see if you guys can come back together.
I agree. So you don't separate and go get another person.
And then be like, you cheated on me. No, I did not. We were separated for exactly 18 months. And in those 18 months,
go into another relationship.
That don't count. I never cheated on you.
And then when it don't work, you come back.
Yeah.
That's not, you don't realize that.
Or you say, you know what? It's a nasty world out there. I want to come back home.
Please. Okay. Moving right along. If they don't make you happy, just leave. What you think about that?
Bad advice.
Why?
Bad advice. Because happiness is an individual responsibility. I hate that we think it's okay to put that burden on another human being. So my thing, if someone is saying I'm not happy, my thing is to get to the root of why you're not happy. Because if that unhappiness has nothing to do with your outside world and everything to do with your inner world, it doesn't matter where you go. At some point you're going to find yourself right back there. In that unhappy place, because you haven't really resolved the conflict or whatever is going on within yourself. But first you have to realize that happiness doesn't come from the outside of you.
I think that is probably up there with finances as the number one reason for breakups. I really think that that's a big reason why so many of our relationships are in shambles. It's because we go into them looking for that other person to fulfill us in ways where we're empty. And when they don't, you know, we point the finger at them.
And we have no knowledge of self as well, and in so many different capacities. We try to suppress those parts of ourselves that we deem not good, or, you know, like for women, I could speak as a woman, right? We might say, I know I'm really calm, right? Usually I'm very laid back. Sometimes too much, okay? I can be later, but I also know that I have a lot of fire. Right? So what would happen to me is I would always try to push the relax me in the forefront, right? And no one would know I have this fire until something pops off, you know. But I had to realize that I can't neglect that part of myself. And so as I learned to know myself, I just realized that that fire is a part of who I am. It's just about managing it. Because there are going to be times and places that requires that fire. So it's not for me to do away with it, it's for me to acknowledge it, embrace it, and manage it. So there are things like I've learned that's a part of knowing yourself. A lot of us don't know ourselves, because if we did, some things we won't even subject ourselves to. Some people we won't even be with. You know what I mean? Because you would know that person has this going on, and I already know how I respond to those type of situations. But oftentimes we go into relationships looking for compensation. We want someone to compensate for the areas that we lack in, and that's unfair. That happiness piece is a big one. You're right. You are absolutely right, because you hear it all the time. I'm just not happy with that person, you know, and then you go to someone else and you're going to find something, because no one is perfect,
and you know what else comes to mind when that makes me believe that is that because we could get irritated by the other person, and it could be the least little things, to where, you know what I'm saying, I think if you are content with who you are, then you know who they are wouldn't irritate you so much. You know, everybody has their pet peeves about them, but you know, when it gets to the point where no matter what this other person does, you are irritated by it. Everything, they can't even be themselves because being themselves don't make you happy.
Right.
That's usually something in the individual, not the person. The person's just being who they are.
Yeah.
They can go around somebody else and be the same person and they cool.
Right.
But with you, anything they say or do irritates you.
But you know, that's what I said. It goes back to knowing self, because like I know for a fact. I mean, I'm gonna say this on air, but I know for a fact I have an issue around men who play all the time. It irritates my soul. It irritates my soul. Like, really? You on joke time every time? Okay, I could take some humor, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, even in serious situations, you're still being a clown. I have an issue with that. Why would I try to get myself in a situation with someone that I know?
But no, that's different than being around somebody and, you know, everything they do. I'm talking everything they do.
No, then that's something from within yourself. Every single thing. And like you said, they're just being themselves.
They just being who they are.
That's coming from within yourself. It is. I agree with you. A lot of relationships break up because of that piece. Not really knowing how to fulfill. You know, because if you see a woman or a man, constantly like just needy and clingy. And where you at? When you coming back? Why you don't want to hang out with me? You know, they don't really have their own thing. You know, you're their thing. You become their thing. That's a problem. That is not something you want.
I'm glad you brought
that
cute. Up. Or you get into a relationship and everybody else becomes second nature. So at one point you had a social life, you had girlfriends you hung out with, you had things you did with yourself, but as soon as you meet this other individual, y'all come together, all that stops. It becomes solely about that person. And I think that's a void.
And I also think that in the honeymoon phase, that's possible. That can happen where two people just meet, y'all caught up in each other. But I mean, that's a long term. No, I think when you first meet someone, it's like, oh, where you going tonight? Oh, I go to the movies, because that's people trying to get to know each other. But if it's a long term thing, I think there's definitely something wrong there. Because that whole in the beginning when people on the phone breathing in each other's ear, that's the point, that's the angle I'm coming from. That's the beginning stages. And that don't last long. You know what I'm saying? That's a good month.
Even in that phase, even in that phase, there's some balance. Though.
Of course.
There's some balance. I know people who even in that phase now, they just gone. You don't hear from them. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. It's like every word that comes out when you conversate with them, every word is about this other individual. But you know what? I get you're
caught up.
But I still think, you know,
it should be a balance. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Okay, let's go to the stream. I don't know which one Spud was talking about, but Spud said usually it's because that person wants to change you or something about you, and when they can't, they get irritated. Good point, Spud. Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's true. Because again, that's trying to mold someone into the person that would make you happy.
Right. Right. He doesn't make me happy. Because, you know, he chews with his mouth open.
It's so irritating. Dump him. And then you go to your friend who's just like, ooh, everything irritates them too. And she's like, he does what? Girl, no. Leave him. Ain't nobody got time for that. He chewing his mouth open like that's
girl, you better get out of here quick.
That's a sign of what?
Right. Justin says, I sometimes bully conversations, and I know that turns many women off. I'm coming from a personal space. Oh, I admire your honesty, Justin. I wonder, can you go into that? What you mean when you bully conversations? You know what? We'll come back to that. But what do you mean by that?
Dominate the conversation.
You dominate. Let's see. Let's go to Instagram. You can't make someone happy, only do their only contribute to their happiness. Who is that?
Mm-hmm.
Veggie Barber. Veggie Barber said you can't make somebody happy, you can only contribute to their
I think we
happiness.
should compliment
It's a
each
good
other.
point.
I think we're looking for people to compensate versus compliment, and I think that we need to know the difference. Someone should compliment.
Yeah. Okay, moving right along. All women should cook and clean.
Is this advice?
And the men should
what? Mow the lawn?
it should bring home the bacon.
Oh,
and the women should
provide.
fry it.
Oh, okay.
What you think?
Is that this is relationship advice?
Yeah.
Oh, so gender roles.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a tricky one. Because in certain ways I feel like gender roles are important. And I think it depends on the household.
What do you think about those who say, like, your man should get his plate served before the child and stuff like that?
Oh, I think that's baloney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's nonsense.
Why does that become so important, you think?
Probably,
To some people.
Probably some dude that jealous of his own children. That came from him. And it just kept going from generation to generation.
Well, does that
somebody great grandfather?
Does that affect the relationship if your child gets his food 30 seconds before you do?
Right. Maybe is that maybe someone can answer if there is that a thing in some cultures. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And there's another thing too. Cultural. There's that cultural piece too that you gotta factor in when you're talking about gender roles as well. I actually think let's say this guy loses his job and she becomes the breadwinner. These roles gender roles are important, but we have to have flexibility in them,
especially in this day and age.
Yes, and we have to be open to the possibility of them switching at different times. You can't be so solid in this is what men do and this is what women do to where you're not even flexible when the time calls for you to do so. Because then you just gonna make your whole family miserable. So if for whatever reason you lost your job, you're not the breadwinner, then get home and cook and clean until you find another job while she works. It's really not that deep. If you love and respect each other and it's about the family, I don't see the issue. I agree with that. A lot of times we will hold on to certain things and it becomes an issue where it wasn't before. Like, say for instance, the whole cooking thing. That's important to a lot of brothers. But what if this sister had everything else going for her that you liked and admired, but she didn't cook? So you'd be willing to forego the whole relationship because she is not domesticated in that way? I'm yet to meet a man that would do that. Most men that I know who they know that their significant other can't cook and they're still with them, it's because they have other strong qualities about them. And they'll laugh and say, yeah, she can't cook, or she tried, but she thinks she can cook, but she can't cook. But they're still with her because that is not all there is to that individual. Like whether or not you can cook, does that really define who you are as an individual? No. At the end of the day, the answer is no.
I think a lot of times we hang on to those because we worry too about what other people would think.
I agree.
Family and
and sometimes that comes from
says.
Sometimes that comes from our elders too, older women in our family where they're very domesticated and say they have a son or a grandson and he brings a woman home that may not be as domesticated as they were thought to be. That can rub them the wrong way as well. And that's the environment that he come up in. And so then now he's worried about what they think. About not just his wife, but the choice that he made in a wife. Because
what if you're a man who, like Wasita say, I like a man who
and there are men who like to cook. I know men. I have friends who are married to men where that person is in the kitchen more than her,
and they prefer it that way.
They're fine with it. That's what I said. It's like you don't want to be so rigid in the whole. This is what you're supposed to do, and this,
And then it becomes an issue in the relationship.
But I do think it's important that everyone has a role that they play. with, of course, openness to flexibility.
Yeah, I
Me
agree.
personally, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mom, does mom know best? If mother, why do you always do that? You tickles me.
'Cause that's the monster-in-law, all of that other piece.
Yeah.
The monster, not the mother-in-law, the monster-in-law. Yeah, I know where that's going.
Okay, so
If that bad advice, yes.
okay.
She probably knew best in 1972.
So go ahead, finish your point, because I want to get something else somebody on Instagram shared.
I'm not saying that we don't take the wisdom of the elders.
Yeah.
But okay, so I'm glad we can get into this, because when we talk about relationship advice and we say when friends mean well, but okay, we're talking about families too,
Yes.
family members too.
Yes.
Okay, some of us have beta grandparents,
Whoa.
truth be told, because
Whoa,
you know,
Nana.
granddaddy was a Rolling Stone and he just did her wrong. And she's just never gotten over it, but she's raised his children, and now those children have children of their own, which now become you, and that's grandmother, right? And you're going to her with advice. That's the one that would say, "Oh, all men cheat, child. Suck it up."
Good
You know,
point.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I
So we need to know that not the age doesn't mean that you're right.
Yeah.
Not because someone is older means that they're right. I've seen some elders give very bad advice. Not only that, they are so detached from the times that we live in. You're giving me advice from 1965 that worked in 1965, right? It don't work in 2018 because outdated. And that's because, again, the gender roles, the way the family structure, all of that look different when grandma was a wife.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to kind of sort through that too.
I guess that's why a lot of us say the difference between an older person and an elder.
Mhm.
There is a difference. And but Goddess Gaze on Instagram says her opinion, talking about mom, her opinion matters, but it's not the final word, especially if the partner she picked ain't right. I'm assuming that, especially if the partner she picked, like maybe your mother is not even in a strong, healthy relationship, but she's giving you relationship
That's
advice.
my point. However, parents always want their kids to do better
True.
than them.
True.
So sometimes that advice comes from a place of, girl, don't be me. Don't be me.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And you'll hear women who grew up where, not grew up, but when they were with their significant other, they were at home with the kids, whatever, and you would see them pushing their girl children
Yeah.
to get an education, to be able to provide for themselves. You'll see them push that hard.
Right.
You would think that they would push, you should be home with your kids, but they already know what that looks like when you don't have your own.
Right.
You see that all the time. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it can come from a place of, I need you to do better than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, I had them kind of conversations all the time with my children.
There you go.
Right.
Right.
You live and learn. Yeah. You don't
Someone
want
has
to
a
repeat the
question
cycles.
too.
Go ahead.
Justin's question, okay, boom. Do you think a man should get serious with a woman with more than one child and he has none? Why not?
Why not?
Why not, Justin?
I mean, if everything else is in good working order, why would that stop you?
Right, because I mean, what does the child have to do with the quality of the woman? You know, like, are you attaching that to, what does that mean? Is that changing her value? You know what I'm saying? Her market value is, you know, and maybe for some men, because he's saying he don't have a child, she has one.
Right.
I say, why not?
Right.
Yeah, that could be the person of your dream.
That's a legitimate question though, because I hear that a lot.
Mhm.
I hear that a lot, and people, and especially those who don't have children. I hear that coming from them a lot, where I won't date no man and he has children or children younger than a certain age.
Yeah, I've heard that
because
one.
they don't want to deal with the other relationship.
Yeah,
That the person
I've
they had
heard that.
with the father or mother
Yeah.
of the children.
I've heard
So
that
that
one.
comes in.
Definitely, that's a
Yeah.
common one.
But I think that comes the maturity level of the people involved. comes into play in that scenario.
I agree, especially when kids are involved.
Yeah.
Your choice in whoever you choosing to be with is, you gotta be so careful, because there's a level of maturity that's required when you're talking about bringing people around your child or children.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, moving right along. Here we go. Friends with benefits, booty calls, and sugar daddies. Do you recommend that? Is that good advice for people to do?
This is so bad, but there's this one girl that I know right now, and she acts really, really old, and so I think she's divorced like recently, and I was like, I just need her to be. I know this is bad. I didn't say this to her, but I said this to someone else. I'm like, she just need a year of just.
What? You silly.
Just don't even care, because you could tell like she's been in that relationship for a long time, hurt.
Yeah.
And you could see the hurt, like you could see it in her face.
Yeah.
So for me, and this is of course me jokingly, I would never advise, I would never tell her that. But you see things and then you're like, man, you don't even need to be trying to get caught up in anything else. Just live life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so, have you ever seen Stella got her groove back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, she just need a Winston for a year.
Okay.
Because I was like, she needs somebody younger. That's how I felt, because she's in her 40s, but no. Encouraging booty calls and what is it? Sugar daddies.
And friends with benefits.
No.
You don't recommend that?
No.
That's not good advice?
It's not good advice.
Why
Why are you advising them of that? What's going on? Like, when is it appropriate to advise someone to do that? That's what I'm trying to. Is it ever appropriate? What do you think?
I agree. I don't see, because of the whole physicality of it, and we don't understand what all that entails. We think that we could just go on and do that physical act with a stranger, basically.
Yeah.
Or somebody close to a stranger.
And I think some people
and go on about our lives.
Yeah.
And don't realize all the energy that we are taking in on both sides.
But you know what though?
Women.
You know how sometimes that break in between, that is absolutely necessary and important for your healing. When you start doing all sorts of other things in between like these, you're not really focusing on yourself and your healing, and then you meet someone and you click, and you cut off the booty calls and the sugar daddies and the friends with benefits, and now you go in another relationship, but you never really dealt with your own issues, because you utilize that time that you should have used for your healing
For distractions.
for distractions.
For distractions.
That's a good word. Yeah.
Yeah, It's like a good point. That's an excellent breakdown.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so you never really grow into it. And there's another thing I think that we don't realize, that's self-destructive, because when we don't take that time to heal and to self-reflect and do all that stuff, we're not growing.
Yeah.
And so we're not, then we wonder why we keep going into the same relationships over and over and over again, because I'm a firm believer that you attract who you are. Hands down. You may not even understand it or know it, but you do. And so you get mad and frustrated over and over again, and nothing seems to work. Everything fails because you haven't taken the time to really do the work on you.
And you see what you're talking about too, when that happens, where a relationship went bad, and it was, you had a bad breakup, or even just a regular breakup, but it was a heartbreak. It was a disappointment, right? That's something that you still need to unpack and you still need to process. So what happens oftentimes, what you're talking about, is that we are taking this stuff and we are dumping them in the box. We're taking them up to the attic, and we haven't even taken the time to sort through those items in that box. We put them in the attic and we leave them there, and we go about our life living in every other part of the house, cleaning every other part of the house, and just forgetting that those things are there, right? And so you get in another relationship. Those things are still in that house being your temple, your body, your mind, your psyche, your subconscious, whatever you want to call it. it's still there. And so you get into another relationship, and relationships are not a smooth road all the time. So you're gonna hit a bump at some point that's going to bring up those things.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And you're gonna either have a choice at that point again to either sort through those things,
Yeah.
or leave the relationship,
Yeah.
pack those things up again,
Yeah.
and put them in the attic. You have a choice. And some people, it's cyclical for some people. They
It's-
just do that over and over again without realizing, oh my gosh, I need to really unpack these things.
Yep. Yep. And
Yeah.
another cyclical thing I think we don't recognize, especially as women, I'm
Mhm.
just speaking as what we
Mhm.
do as women when we go on these booty calls and things of that nature, is that we don't, and then, you know, sometimes we want a little bit more from the man than just what he's giving us physically. And then we get in our feelings when he's not willing to give that to us, but we don't realize that we set ourselves up for that failure. Because, first of all, if another individual that's willing to do that with you, you got to question anyway. Because would he be a good husband, a good mate? That's just real talk. But when you do that, and then it's like we're operating in the low chakra. You're operating in the lowest chakra on sex and emotion. And so when it's time to find, or you getting feelings involved or something like that, then they're not interested in that aspect, because you've already presented yourself in a low form of existence. And so then it becomes a pattern.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So I don't recommend any of that stuff.
We have some feedback.
Okay, go ahead.
So we have Wasita said, Spud says, booty calls are good because everyone shouldn't be in a relationship. Okay, Spud. You want to expound on that one? And then, and he said everybody can't handle a relationship. Wasita says, as long as you can handle the consequences that come along with your decision without blaming others. So in other words, if you want to engage in those type of behaviors, or the booty calls, and as long as you know that there are consequences that come with that, and you are willing to take on those consequences and not blame anyone else.
But I don't think we really understand the consequences. We really don't. And we become broke and lonely and and filled with pain, and don't realize that our own actions cause those things.
But there are people who know, like, they're not ready for a relationship, but they still need a warm body from time to time. And those are the women or the men that you will see. They will engage people who are already attached to someone else, because there is no real responsibility on their end. It's just I don't really want you. You have something that I want, but it's not you per se.
There's consequences coming along with that too.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
But that's just me. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who would disagree, but I just think for a healthy, whole existence, or attempting to walk in a righteous way, there's just certain things that you just you think twice about. For those reasons.
And that law of attraction that you talk about too. What are you drawing to your own life by doing such?
We don't take it into consideration, and that's a law, like you said. That's a law. You can't get around that. Girls, just take them for child support. He ain't doing what you want him to do.
Oh no.
Just take him for child support.
Bad advice.
Okay. Bad advice.
Yeah.
Why?
If you haven't, if there hasn't been a chance given to that individual to really step up and do what they're supposed to do as the co-parent, that shouldn't be the first option. And for most people, as soon as breakup happen, it's like child support is introduced immediately. Don't you have to have a reason to need to put somebody in child support? You get what I'm saying? I personally think there are people who are on child support that need to be on child support because they're not responsible enough to do it on their own. You know what I'm saying? So it's, to me, I look at child support for those type of people as automatic. When you set up automatic withdrawals from your account, like if you have a car note, and so it comes out at a certain date every time. That's how I look at child support for some people, because it's like you just forget about your bills, and you need a system to where it's just withdrawn.
Oh, I see.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
Because there are men out there where it's like, I don't have it this month. You know, or I'll get it to you. So you haven't even sent any type of financial anything for your child in 3 months.
Right.
That mother still has to feed that child and clothe that child.
Right.
And you think that you could just skip 3-4 months and you're employed. Yes, people like that. You need to be on child support. You need to be held accountable. Someone needs to find a way to get the money from you. That's how I see that part.
Okay.
Now, using to weaponize child support is where I have an issue. Where women weaponize it, where child support isn't about the fact that I can't get money for my child. Child support becomes a whip that I am going to use now to punish you for hurting me.
Good teacher.
You know, or I am going to use that now because I had dreams that you have now crushed. Dreams of being a wife with a family. And now you have crushed that. And so you have to pay for that. And so I'm going to use the courts. I'm going to hit you where it hurts, which is in your pocket.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use the courts to do so. Yeah.
Good.
That's where I have a problem with that. Yes. But I know people who need to be on child support.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, I agree. All what you said, I shake hands down. But I do, but my question goes, well, what about the women who done all they can and try all they can and they, you know, the man is just, or let's say, you know, there's another scenario. They on separate thought patterns about what child support should be. So maybe the woman wants this, and that taken care of, and the man like, well, hold on, I can only do this, and this. You might have to take care of that, and she ain't going for that. Nah. So let me just go on and take you to child support.
Yeah, and see, and that's where it gets tricky, because I found that women who do that and can't find a compromise in the middle, they get disappointed by the courts. Because the courts end up giving them less than what they were asking for in the first place. Right. It's true. I've seen it over and over again. You know, I have an issue where you were with this man. He had the same job he's had when he was with you for them 5 years. So you kind of have an idea of what he makes. You kind of have an idea of what financial obligations he has. Now that you guys are not together, you could care less if he sleeps on a couch.
All he's worth.
Right. If he sleeps on a couch in the corner of somebody's house, like that's important. Like that man having a roof over his head affects your child too.
That's right.
If your child have to visit that guy, you know what I mean? So for me, like I said, I've seen men where it's just like, yeah, you need to be on child support because you are irresponsible. Yeah. You know, and no woman should have to beg a man to financially support their child. No woman should have to do that.
That's right.
Specifically when she's lived with you, you guys were sharing the responsibilities. Now the relationship has not worked. Why is she behind you, begging you for money? Why is she behind you? You know when that child's birthday is. You know when school begins. You know all of this. Why is she behind you, begging you to help her get some uniforms?
In a lot of instances, that plays out on the man's side too, what you described, where some women will try to get back at the man to take him to child support, where some men will attempt to get back at the woman by not giving her any child support help.
Right, or not really trying to, and that's the other thing. Some men can be hurt to where their punishment to that woman is not showing up for their children. Right. Which is just ridiculous. Right. Okay? Now, my thing is this.
You're hurting the child.
Yes. There has to be a balance. Okay? If you were with that brother and you know he wasn't making that much money, and now y'all not together, and you know good and well it was working out because y'all was splitting everything in half. So that's kind of what was keeping him above water. Now he's out there on his own. Okay? If he is showing up and trying to take his child out, and all of that, like you have to put that into perspective as well. Right. Like some women make it just pay me. Just pay me. I don't need you to pick my child up. My child don't need to see you, just send the money. Right. And that is, to me, is just as bad.
I agree.
It's just as bad. I agree. So that person isn't abandoning. I know a guy that did that, where he was picking his child up every single day. Yeah. You know, then she still went to court and lied and said he's never done anything for the child.
Yeah, 'cause
Now he
they
probably haven't bought the child as much as because she makes way more money than he does.
Well, that's because she put the category of doing something for the child. She put money as the main factor in doing something for the child, and not what the man being there in other ways.
Yes, yeah. So for them, it's just like just give me the money, but there's so many other ways that a man or a woman can be there for their child,
right?
Outside of just financially,
right?
Right? Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's just I think putting the government in your personal home business should be the last
resort.
It'd be the last resort.
And for some
not
people,
the first.
For some people, it is Alqamar. That's why I said that.
Mm-hmm.
Some women, I know women who waited years before they even got to the courts.
Yeah.
And that person has been given opportunity to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And because she was like, I don't want to put you on child support. And then it gets to a point where it's like the kids get older and they get more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now you're not even showing up for them.
Right.
You're not even picking them up on the weekends. Okay, then you know what? You need to, I'm going to go to the courts for you.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else I can do. My hands are tied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the brothers do that. And I never understood that per se, how you could do that.
That's abandonment. It is abandonment. It is abandonment.
Your own seed.
Yeah.
So what that is, for me, it gives me an indication of how they feel about themselves.
Yeah.
Because you just can't walk away from something you didn't create it. From your own being,
and that you love,
and without having some sort of feeling about who you are, personally. Yeah. So that go hand in hand. I think we run out of time.
Yeah.
Wow, we had a few other ones on the list too. Keeping a chick on the side. And, real quick, Brother Edward X did want me to mention. He said his advice is please stop taking relationship advice from gay men.
Ooh.
He said that he see that all the time that women will take this advice from gay. He said a gay man can't tell you how a man should be, a straight man should be. So that's what he said. I'm just throwing that out there because that's just coming from another angle. Be careful who you get your advice from.
All right,
family. We've run out of time, although we have even more things to talk about. Thank you for joining in the discussion. This is the Empower Hour with myself, Alqamar.
And I'm Hanifah.
And we do this each and every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. You can catch us on Empower Hour Talk Show online on Facebook. And then we also have a YouTube channel if you can't catch us live. Anytime we post all our episodes on YouTube under Miss Free the People. That's MS Free the People. And until next week, take care of each other. Peace.
All right.
I fell asleep.
I know.
It's kind of hard to wake them up. You know we didn't get to promos.
I know. I was about to place a piece of paper over there.
Right.
Like, wake up.
You don't even exist. You can't even tell me you're a real person.
Okay, family. Thanks again for joining us and chiming in. And we'll see you guys next week. Please share the information. You never know who's out there that could use the advice of what we're talking about here today. All right. Thank you, Justin. Take care. Peace.